The second service level tracker that we will create will allow us to monitor ESX hosts that are part of a production ESX cluster. We'll start off by creating a service level tracker that is very similar to the first. Under Specify Objects within the class, instead of selecting all objects of targeted class, we're going to go ahead and select a particular group that would allow us to target ESX hosts that are part of a production ESX cluster. We will continue to configure this service level tracker very similar to the first. Let's go ahead and run the report against the second service level tracker that we just created. Notice that in this report, only 2 ESX hosts are present. This is because we have scoped the report down to only the production ESX cluster. The third service level tracker is completely different than the other two, as it targets a grouping of objects rather than a specific class, such as VMware ESX hosts. Since the service level tracker will target a grouping of objects, it allows organizations flexibility in monitoring objectives against clusters, ESX hosts, and VMs within one tracker. First, we will need to create the group we will target the service level tracker against. For this demonstration, we will create a group that will contain the production ESX cluster. Next, we will create the service level tracker. Instead of targeting the VMware ESX host class as before, we will target the new group we just created. For the purpose of this demonstration, we will create 3 different service level objectives. The first SLO will allow us to monitor availability for ESX hosts running within the production cluster. This is much like we did in the previous service level trackers. Note, in order for us to target the correct monitors to track, we will need to change the targeted class to VMware ESX host. The next SLO will target VMware ESX server memory capacity, as done in the other service level trackers. Note, in order to target the appropriate memory metrics, we will need to change the targeted class to memory. The third SLO will extend to the VM guests. For this demonstration, we will want to monitor the VM guests' active memory capacity. However, instead of monitoring against an objective goal of less than some percentage, we will want to measure against more than some percentage. We are doing this to determine if any VMs are configured with too much committed memory. For the VMs that do not meet our objective goal, we will want to reconfigure with a smaller amount of memory. In order to target the appropriate VM guest memory metrics, we will need to change the targeted class to VRAM. This concludes the configuration of the third service level tracker. Let's go ahead and run the service level report against this new service level tracker. Notice the results of the service level tracker are much different than the previous two. Here, we only have one parent object, the production clusters. Under it, we see our three service level objectives. The service level objectives tell us if any of the VM guests or ESX hosts within the production ESX cluster has failed a configured objective goal. Let's drill down into the VM guest memory capacity objective. Here, we can see that the majority of all VM guests within the production cluster do not meet our intended objective goal. Remember, the goal that we set for VM's guests was for them to utilize 20% or more committed memory. For the purpose of this demonstration, all of the VM guests that did not meet the objective goal will need to be configured with less committed memory.